Hello there my Jedi and Sith friends, my Mandalorians, my Megalorians, and I also see that we have a couple of Ewoks in the back. Yep, you guys over there, I see you. Welcome back to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your friend, and your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today, we've got another wild update in the saga concerning the Mandalorian and Grogu's box office. Don't worry though, it's not just another video where we're here to lament. Yes, it's true, the movie's performance ended up being pretty far below most fans' expectations. But apparently, Lucasfilm has a plan. Up until this point, the only official response we've gotten is from Disney execs, and their reaction was pretty tame. If you cast your minds back, they said that they're not overly concerned. At this point, they're just hoping for a good Disney Plus premiere when the movie hits the platform in a couple of months. But now, my friends, it's Lucasfilm's turn to comment, and they've done so through Brendan Wayne, the man who is under the helmet most of the time. 99% of the time it's either Brendan or Latif. And in a new interview with Brandon Davis, that's Brandon, not another Brendan, he spills the beans on what Dave Filoni has said about the performance of the Mandalorian and Grogu. So this certainly is secondhand information, but what's revealed by Brendan is rather eyebrow-raising. Not only does Dave Filoni want a sequel to the Mandalorian and Grogu, he wants two of them.
Deuce! 2 times!
Making it a total of 3 desired Mandoverse projects on the big screen. One of them presumably is Filoni's own, the one announced back in London at Celebration in 2023. But here's what Brendan said. Dave isn't too concerned. His approach is more story-focused. We're gonna tell a story, and we're gonna tell it over 3 movies, and this next season of Ahsoka. He understands that it's not all about the box office. It's not about did we open well against Solo, or whatever it was. We were amazing because we didn't have the budget of those movies, and we still did something. So the crux of what he's saying is that, despite the low box office, the Mandalorian and Grogu is still a win, because they were working with a much lower budget than Solo, or any other Disney Star Wars movie. Yeah, but the movie needed to make a lot more just to break even. It may have surpassed its original production budget, but he's forgetting the marketing budget. And he maintains that from Filoni's perspective, it's all about telling this story first and foremost, and the numbers and the box office second. But here's the problem. While I understand where Brendan is coming from, we know Dave Filoni is very dedicated to the story he wants to tell. He's got lots of plans for Ahsoka and Thrawn and all of these characters. It's a very idealistic position that ignores the economics of the movie industry in 2026. Unless Dave has some crazy deal with higher-ups like Josh D'Amaro, the box office does matter. If you care about these characters and you want to see them again, you have to acknowledge the box office counts. But then again, Disney has been trying to spin the Mandalorian and Grogu as a win. I mean, look, Dave is Lucasfilm president. He's in charge of the direction of Star Wars. He has a story to tell, but he answers to the mouse. And at this rate, at best, any future Mandoverse stories beyond Ahsoka Season 2 are going to be with an even tinier budget, and it's not going to be on the big screen, especially if Starfighter outperforms Mando. You can't seriously expect Disney to greenlight sequel after sequel with diminishing returns. It's called the entertainment business for a reason. I definitely agree there is something to be said about creativity first, but at the end of the day, Disney cares about profit. Now, in the event that the Mandalorian and Grogu does have a really good Disney Plus premiere, I can envision a scenario where going forward, they decide to make Star Wars movies with lower budgets that go straight to the streaming service, that bypass the big screen. They're already considering doing this for an animated film. We've heard from numerous sources for the last 2 years that Lucasfilm is working on a straight-to-Disney Plus animated movie. I have no idea if it's going to be Clone Wars, Mandoverse, sequel era, but they have had those conversations. But Brendan Wayne is saying that Dave Filoni wants to do multiple sequels to this film. With the way things are at the moment, and the priority now shifting to the 50th anniversary of A New Hope, then Ahsoka, then Starfighter, I can't see another Mando movie happening anytime soon. They might just get readapted for more seasons of the show, especially if the viewership on Ahsoka Season 2 is good. The lesson they're probably going to take away from that is that there are Mando fans, but most of them aren't willing to spend extra money to go see a version of the show in the cinema. Let's wait and see, but I do find Brendan's comments on what Dave Filoni said a bit surprising at this point. But then again, we like to criticize Lucasfilm for never having a plan. Look what happened with the sequel trilogy. But here we have Brendan saying that with the Mandoverse, with the Mandalorian and Grogu, Dave Filoni does have a plan. It involves multiple stories across different films and shows. But I can see why fans are apprehensive about this. After The Mandalorian Season 2, things have been all over the place. The public perception is that they cocked up with Season 3, then they put a fun but pretty inconsequential low-stake film in the cinemas, and so looking ahead to what's coming soon that is confirmed, Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be very important, not just in terms of the story it's going to tell, but to see if Star Wars fans actually still care, if they're going to tune in and engage with it. Because remember guys, by that point, early 2027 is when they told us it will have been 4 years since Season 1. I'm sorry, but in the streaming age, that kind of gap is unacceptable. We can talk about quality control and all of that, but it's 4 freaking years. 4 years. And I'm just so baffled by some of Lucasfilm's own comments about this, because they seem so oblivious to the state of things. Their mentality is stuck in 2015. They think if they slap a Star Wars label on something, it's still gonna rake in the same amount of money, fandom, passion, viewership. They seem so oblivious to the damage, the perceived damage, that a lot of fans feel has been done. And I'm saying this as a positive Star Wars fan, so that's why I feel that Ahsoka Season 2 kind of is their last chance when it comes to the Mandoverse. Starfighter I feel might reinvigorate the wider fandom. In the same year we have the 50th anniversary of A New Hope, but they need to realise if Ahsoka Season 2 underperforms or does something horrible to the canon or is just flat out not very good, I think it's over for the Mandoverse. Because fans still care about Anakin, fans want to know what happens to Baylan, Shin, what's going to happen with the New Republic, not to mention the fact Thrawn is back and he's on Dathomir. But again, a few weeks ago they made a big mistake. Jon Favreau mentioned that Ahsoka Season 2 connects to the sequel trilogy. We have to come to terms with the fact that those connections are coming. It's only a matter of time until they bring Snoke into it. It's just a matter of time until they explain the rise of the First Order, but it does put a lot of fans off when you talk about it. They're not going to wreck on the sequel trilogy, but because there's enough time between episodes 6 and 7, I feel like you can put off those connections for a good few years. But to jump in before Ahsoka Season 2 comes out and say, this season connects to the sequel trilogy, was not a good PR move. So look, not all hope is lost, but the Mandoverse is past its heyday. Ahsoka Season 2 really needs to impress. To some extent, I think that could salvage the bad taste in a lot of fans' mouths. And The Mandalorian and Grogu wasn't even bad, at least I don't think so. But it shouldn't have been the movie they put in cinemas. I just think for overall perception and word of mouth, it needed higher stakes. It needed something of a hook. But Dave Filoni thinks the Mandoverse still has a bright future, so let's wait and see. But what do you guys think? What do you make of Brendan Wayne's new comments? And what do you think's in store for the future of the post-episode 6 time period? And if you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you always.